My name is Mel Barton. I manage the costume workroom. We're the revival costume workroom, so it's our responsibility to get on stage all of the existing Royal Ballet reps. So these are productions that have been in store maybe for several years. So we bring them out of store, we refit them on the company, we refurbish them, restore them, do lots of conservation work to keep them looking beautiful. The ballet we're going to look at today is called Jewels. It's in 3 parts. The first part is called Emeralds, which is the green costume here. The second part is called Rubies, which is obviously the red costume here. And then the third part is Diamonds, the last costume there. This is what we call our costume Bible. So every piece of information that we need to recreate the ballet is recorded in this book. We keep a Bible for every production at the Opera House. All the ballets will have a costume Bible. So here we have all of the original, the choreographer, the designer, all the original details that we can work to. We also have photographs from that original production. It was made for New York City Ballet in 1967, so this is our original reference, and our job then is to try and recreate these costumes here. So maybe we'll take a closer look at some of the costumes. If we start with the Emeralds costume, which I think is very striking. This is the boy's costume. It's made in 2 parts actually. The sleeves are quite separate to the bodice. That gives the dancer lots of movement. There's no restriction across his back or his shoulders. The costume is a lovely rich green velvet and it's trimmed with green satin. And I think the most fabulous green stones, they really look like emeralds, don't they? They're made from glass, which is quite precious and quite difficult to deal with. We have to be very careful when it's being cleaned or laundered. I think what's particularly lovely about this boy's costume is the lacework underneath. Well, if we move on to the girl's costume, I think you see little hints of lots of maybe sometimes this encrusted jewel here with this centre jewel could have an Elizabethan look. The shape of it with the neckline and the jewels could be medieval. But I think it's generally just a beautiful, luxurious dress to look at. We do, of course, quite often have more than one girl in a costume. We have lots of casts, so girls will need to share dresses. So you can see here, we have 3 lines of bars, and that means that 3 girls are sharing this costume. So now if we move on to the Rubies, the centre section of the ballet, this piece is quite lively, quite perky compared to the green, which is more sedate, more relaxed choreography and music. I think of all the costumes in the Royal Ballet Rep, I think maybe the Rubies probably has the most wow factor. If you take a look at this, it looks absolutely minute, but I will let you into a little secret because this does have lots of stretch. And this, of course, is an ideal costume for a dancer because it stretches, it gives them no restrictions really. Again, these lovely decorated tabs, and then the backside is gold. So during this, as we said, very perky choreography, these tabs sort of flick around, they actually bash into each other and make quite a lovely sound. You can see and feel the excitement of the movement. The length, absolutely okay, but it just bothered me that I thought I could see the back dipping a little bit. So 24. Yes, so, do you know it's only half an inch, just a tiny bit, so if it's okay with you, I'll just skim off that little bit from the back. How's everything else?
It's alright, it's one of those costumes that often when you stand and you fit in it fits alright, but when you start moving,
can I just take a little look at the back? It'll be fine. Let me just see, maybe it's
literally that
top
one.
Section.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can just tweak the back. I think 1/4 of an inch is really
just a bit more.
Yeah, it's really all that it needs. I'll do it back up for now, because you need to go back downstairs, and then I'll collect it from you, and then we'll just make that adjustment. Yeah. How are the sleeves? These okay? I know they can be a bit tricky to wear.
I know. I don't want to be a pain, but
go for it.
They're just. It's mainly actually this side. It's just a bit scratchy.
Let me just see.
And I think they tried. They put a little bit of material.
It needs a little bit more.
Is it just a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because this sort of vein shape is metal to hold it, and you just need a little. So we're going to give you a little bit more velvet on the inside, and then I think you'll be fine. And now we come to Diamonds, which is the last section of the ballet. Very, very beautiful, very striking. The whole set is very pale, and the costumes themselves are pale. The stones are diamonds without colour. It is a really stunning piece to see. The music this time, unlike the Rubies, is a calmer, more elegant piece of music and choreography. Again, we will see that the boys' sleeves are made separately to the tunic for lots of movement. And if we move on now to the girls' dress, this is a very classic, soft tutu, quite flat. It finishes, a few inches above the knee. It's good to note that the decoration throughout the whole ballet, through emeralds, rubies and diamonds, all has a similar application with decorated tabs, but they're all quite different. This one has some gold applique, which is very similar to what's on the boys' costume. As the girl dances, these little tabs have a movement of their own. They look very pretty, and of course they're always picking up the light, the stage lights. The bodice, this one's quite firm, so you see it looks a bit bigger than the Rubies, but it doesn't stretch, so that's maybe not quite so comfortable.
Often, like I say, when you're in a fitting and you like it all tight and really nice, and then suddenly you get on stage, and because we've done all our rehearsals in practice clothes, this is totally different. Like, I'll have been rehearsing this for 4 weeks in just a leotard and maybe a little skirt on. It's nothing like this, and it's quite thick and hard, so for the first couple of stage calls it takes a while to get used to it. Often you feel like you've done all this work and then suddenly my leg won't go up as high, or I can't quite move my arms, so it is completely different, but then you get used to it, and it is much more beautiful than our shabby practice clothes. Very, very lovely little sleeves, which, because they're on flesh elastic, actually do disappear, and all you can see is the lovely stonework, what would be like a branch of a fine leaf, the stone again, a lovely motif in the middle. So as a whole set, although I would say the colour is so strikingly different, there is the theme that works through the whole ballet, makes it look very beautiful.